What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it. Everybody, welcome back to another edition of Guzman's Gridiron, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia, live from the Double Eagles Saloon and Deck Bar here in Vineland, New Jersey. KB, Coach Guzman. Coach, we went on the road last week against one of the more talented teams in South Jersey, against Holy Spirit. Not the outcome at the end that you wanted to see, but early takeaways from that game against Holy Spirit in our book from the broadcast side of things and just watching the game to prepare for the show. The defense was spectacular.
Absolutely. Coach Smith, Coach Shelton, Coach Wimbish. I mean, these guys are just putting in the work. They're putting in the time. The kids are following suit. And you see it out there. You saw a lot of positives. If you're a football person and know football for real, you saw a lot of positive things out there, not only defensively but offensively and special teams. So very proud of my kids for how they fought.
Yeah, a lot of big takeaways defensively from this game. And, it was a very similar thing where it was just, a couple of big plays here and there over the middle, those seam routes that number 4 was able to run from Holy Spirit and just take it to the house and use his speed to his advantage. Really led to a multitude of scoring there, and for the most part, you could say number 4 outscored Vineland, in that game. But defensively, I thought you guys were able to apply pressure, especially improvement-wise from the last road game where Kingsway, when we were on the road against Kingsway, they were able to score on 3rd and long, 4th down opportunities, and that's where their touchdowns came from. In this game, Holy Spirit, if I'm not mistaken, went 0 on their 4th down attempts.
Yes.
That's a huge improvement in my book, watching that from a road game perspective too, being able to stop a team who's going to say, hey, we're going to push the chips in the middle, we're going to go for it on 4th down, we're going to test your defense. I thought the defense stepped up in a big way in those key situations to prevent longer drives from happening, getting off the field, and giving the offense an opportunity to get out there on the field and perform and give you guys an opportunity to stay in the game. I thought the defense in those key situations was magnificent.
Again, the defense was stout. When it came down to them rolling the chips, rolling the dice with, chips fully on the table, they lost that. They lost that on 4th down. And they're a team that's known to go for it on 4th down all the time. Again, I'm very proud of the way that our kids reacted in those situations. Those seam routes, it was tough to look at that. In that, in practice, we went over that over and over. So just mental lapses. Again, it's to the point where, again, I tell my kids, we have yet to put together 4 quarters of football. If we did, wow. What an outcome would be waiting for us at the end of that road if we just put together 4 quarters. It seems like we just – we'll give you glimpses here and there of, wow, wait, this team is legitimate. And then all of a sudden it's like we fall off that track. But again, we went to work. We've been working all week, and we're looking forward to EHT homecoming on Saturday.
Once again, one of the players that stood out to me in this one, and he's been fantastic all year, Mason Afanador on both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively, had himself a performance. This is one of those ones that, Mason, if you're watching, which I know you are, put this on your huddle tape, brother.
Absolutely.
Like, this was a game that is going to stand out for you when it comes to the end of the season. Looking through your highlights, this was a highlight game for Mason Afanador.
Again, we absolutely love Mason. He's not only giving you route running and catching from an offensive perspective, he's coming downhill and cracking cats on defense. Like, it's all picture perfect. I mean, he had 14 tackles. Kyle, 14 tackles.
That's unheard of at the high school level, especially against a team like a Holy Spirit.
Which is, you're looking at a team which is, I'm almost guaranteeing you, they're going to be in the state game. That's almost a guarantee, okay? So it was no slouch of a team or anything. They're legitimate through and through.
And
And,
we said last week you guys were on litmus test mode.
yes,
Like that was like let's see where
yes.
we stack up against a team that we know is going to be playing into December.
Absolutely, and you know what? I think our kids showed a team that was kind of riding a high of, all right, we've been getting our wins here and very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Come halftime, it wasn't that type of party. You know what I mean? Again, we had lapses in those two coverages that were blown. Those were just two blown coverages. To be honest, and if our guys were in the right spot, could have been maybe a different outcome with number 4. But kudos to him. He did his thing. He did his job.
That's called knowing your spot, knowing your role.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, our kids are really gonna have to capitalize on alignment, assignment, adjustment, the 3 A's. They really have to hone in on those keys defensively, and offensively. We have got to be able to move the ball when we want to move the ball downfield. We've got to be able to do that. And I know all of our offensive coaches, they're putting in that time to get the job done come homecoming game on Saturday at 1.
It was another, week of seeing Tank under center, playing quarterback. What did you guys take away from a full week of him, being prepared and knowing this was, the direction that you guys wanted to go with him at quarterback and preparing for a defense that Holy Spirit, presents to you? What did you guys take away from his performance? He used his legs a bit, was able to throw the rock a little bit. Some spots that he definitely missed, and I know you could see it on his face that he wanted them back more than anything.
Right.
But that's just the type of player he is. When he doesn't, he is in the best case scenario a perfectionist.
Right.
And that is the whole Powell family. They want to be perfect at their craft no matter what it is. And to see those moments, it was like you could see he wanted some of those throws back. What did you guys take away evaluation-wise watching film from Tank's performance against Holy Spirit?
Again, Tyrell Powell gives you so many different ways to attack a defense. He could attack you, by way of using his legs if he wants. He could attack you in the air if he wants. Just a dynamic player, dynamic athlete. He is a true athlete in the sense where you can literally put him in different spots and he's going to shine. He's going to do his thing. Put him at wide out, he's going to do his thing. Put him at quarterback. I mean, it's something about that Powell genetics that kind of gets them moving in a direction that you're like sometimes looking at each other like, did that just happen? Yeah, it just happened. And it's, to him, it's like, all right, I got it done. Next. Look us over next play because it's like, wow, you just did something remarkable. But we'll talk about it in film come Monday. But, Tank is just he's a pleasure to coach, man. And any coach that gets him at the next level is going to have him, themselves a hell of a player, football player.
And he is the type of player that, this wasn't his expectation personally to come into the season to play quarterback.
Right.
It wasn't you guys as a staff expectation either. Injuries happen and you're thrown into a situation where you got to go to a guy that you can trust to have the ball in his hands, whether it's running or throwing. And I think, you've seen the progression too where it's like, all right, I wasn't expected to be the quarterback. Let me try to just get through this game. Then it's like, okay, I am the quarterback. I'm going to go out and ball out and take this opportunity, showcase my talents, maybe at a position that I wasn't intending on showcasing them at, but I'm going to show that I can play here and be an athlete no matter where I am on the field.
Like I said, I mean, this kid is just a plug-and-play kid. He doesn't, give you anything other than positives come game night. So, we can't ask enough about that kid. He's dynamic in his approach. He's a student of the game. And again, I can't wait to see where he goes next level wise, what school he picks, because they're going to have themselves a football player.
And, you talk about the offense moving the ball when you guys wanted to move it. This really felt like the first game in a lot of instances where the offense did kind of get stalled. There was opportunities where you wanted to take advantage of things, and Holy Spirit was able to either shut it down or, a turnover happened, what have you. What do you think kind of just didn't click with the offense as the game progressed where you guys weren't able to move the ball at the rate that you felt you were capable of?
I think that at the end of the day, the mental errors, again, us shooting ourselves in the foot, it's not so much what these other teams have done. It really isn't, because these guys our guys, they see it in practice day in and day out. Of course, the scout team is not going to give you the look that the actual team you're facing is giving you. But they're seeing every scheme that throughout film work they've shown. They're seeing it day in and day out. So there's no excuses. We lost the game, period. Why? Us shooting ourselves in the foot. In my opinion, it should have been a lot closer, or who knows, maybe we upset that team if we're mistake-free and we put together 4 quarters of football, which we didn't. So, again, kudos to, Holy Spirit and their coaching staff, and I wish them well the rest of the way.
Composure-wise, another crack at looking at the way you guys were performing on the road. How do you guys feel like you adjusted from that first road trip against Kingsway to this one against Holy Spirit? Obviously not the outcome, but, just preparation-wise and throughout the game, how do you feel like you responded to another hostile road environment?
I think our kids responded well. I mean, it was pretty quiet, if you remember,
Yeah.
till the middle of the second quarter where they finally scored. So you could hear pretty much pin drops. Like, it was pretty quiet. And it was their senior night. So, I think the kids reacted the way they should, with a little chip on their shoulder. However, again, you can't have mistakes, and not against teams like that. Not against teams that are going to be in the postseason. You just can't.
And, looking at film and everything, what are some things you guys picked up on, from watching this matchup and want to correct? Some things that may have, been something you worked on, didn't exactly meticulate in the game, and now it's like, okay, we have to correct this if we want to progress forward, win these final couple games down the stretch, and give ourselves a shot at being in a postseason match.
I believe that the first thing we have to do is, and which we have this week, is go back to the foundation. We went back to basics. We're keeping it very simple, sweet. We just almost had to go back in the playbook and kind of trim the fat and just go with what is best for our kids. And again, we're going to see what happens come EHT. I know that the kids are fired up, not just because it's homecoming, but they want to get that, almost like that monkey off their back where they, there's just loss after loss. It kind of drains. If it drains us coaches and we're grown men, it's going to drain these kids, It does. And I want them to experience, that happy feeling again, that wow, we grinded out through a week of practice and now payday, and we got paid with a win. So again, I'm firing on all cylinders. All the coaches are firing on all cylinders. We're ready to change that outcome come Saturday.
Now, we didn't get to do a post-game interview on our social media channels this week just because of senior night at Holy Spirit and everything and how everything was set up there, but do want to congratulate, because I think the coaches would agree, in our book, Mason Afandador was this week's player of the game.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
And it's brought to you by Allen Associates. Big thank you to Allen Associates for sponsoring the show and our player of the game on social this year. And if you're looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs, look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services. With over 6 decades of experience under their belts, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. And whether you're part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered. Their family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. And you can now easily access their services by visiting their brand new website, which is available linked in the description on audio and on YouTube, and it's probably on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube, so you can go check them out at their website. So join the family and let them help you secure your future. And you can also contact them by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. Big thank you to Allen Associates for sponsoring Guzman's Gridiron and our player of the game. Let's talk a little bit more about Mason.
Sure.
Just the way he's been able to progress. He is part of, that trio that got called up from the freshman squad a couple years ago, and they've all kind of grown together. What has kind of clicked, in your guys' opinion, as a staff for Mason? Because it's not traditional that you see somebody, especially at the high school level, perform at the elite level that he's playing on both sides of the ball. Usually, one side takes a hit because you do want to focus on something that you're better at. And when you're playing both sides of the ball throughout an entire game, one aspect of your game can take a hit just from exhaustion alone, but it feels like Mason can go out there full 4 quarters and deliver on both sides of the ball. What do you think from even just last season to this year has, clicked for Mason to really take that next step for his, football playing career?
Let me tell you something. Mason Afandador has made incredible strides from last year to this year. He's not just a one-trick pony anymore. He was utilized in limited space last year offensively. He may have gotten in at Rooster a few plays here and there, nothing major. Fast forward to this year, this gentleman has put in the work needed in the off season, okay, in that weight room, in the strength and conditioning program that we have going, and it shows. I mean, it shows clearly on film. Any type of college scout looking, well, he jumps out at you, okay? He's all over the field. Offensively, he's catching everything, okay? Don't matter what kind of pass you throw at him, he's going to catch it. He high points the ball. All the little things that you look at. He's holding the football to the sideline, okay? He's making sure 2 hands are on the football in traffic. All of the little things that take care of the big things he's doing. Not only offensively, but defensively. He's making sure that he squares his shoulders upon contact. Near shoulder, he's always near shoulder, near hip, more power. So, all of the tackling strategies that he's using are all repetitive in practice, and he's going ahead and applying it during the game, and you see it. There's no fear. He's coming full steam, and whoever's in his way, look out, because he's gonna make the tackle. I mean, I have maybe a few tackles he's missed throughout these games, maybe 2 or 3, but he's a sure hitter to make sure that he not only wraps, but he makes sure that he goes ahead, applies that pressure to his chest as he's taught in practice, and rolls. Okay, to make sure that he ensures the tackle. Like, he does everything picture perfect. So kudos to him. That's his work ethic, and you haven't seen the last of Mason Afandador, I'll tell you that much.
And you obviously have your captains on a team, but to have somebody like Mason, he's not the only one on this roster either.
No.
But to have somebody like a Mason Afandador to lead by example and doing all of those little things during a week of practice and then into a game, how beneficial is that for you guys as coaches to be like, look what Mason's doing. Look what he's doing to put in the work throughout an entire week of practice, from film and install to the weight room to practice to pads to, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And be able to come away with a successful game
right.
like he did against Holy Spirit and like he has all season long. How beneficial is that for you guys as a coaching staff to just point, hey, look at number 25?
Again, it's not even to that point where we have to even say anything. The kids, they see through glass, like I said, so – they're out there, they're looking, they're like, and you hear them talking. Like, we as a staff, we see everything, hear everything. Hey, Mason's balling. He's balling up. Yes. You know why he's balling? Because he puts the work and time in to his craft. So, again, kudos to Mason and what he's doing. And as you said, he's not the only one that's quietly leading by example. You got Saquon, Tank himself. We got all these quiet leaders. They just get the job done and move on to the next play. So we're very fortunate to have kids like that because quietly they are leading. It's just done differently than the vocal, leaders.
Coming into, EHT now, how did the injury report look after Holy Spirit? Didn't feel like anybody got too banged up throughout the game that I can remember, but how's everything looking on the injury front as a whole?
As a whole, you got Carter with a little back tightness. I
feel that, brother. I feel that.
He's got a little back tightness. I always tell him, and just messing around with him, like, son, that ain't nothing but a little Bengay at work. Really? And he always laughs at me, but I tell him it's okay. I always tell him, make sure that you go see the trainers. TD and Dara do a great job. Also, I tell him when he gets home, ask, his parents, can you please rub my back down, and take care of me. And he gets that done at home too, So he's tending to his, his injury. And as far as anyone else that I can think of, that's it. Pretty much, we got everybody else back. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, come Saturday against the EHT.
Now, going into this EHT game, we're filming this on Thursday because the game is on Saturday.
Right.
First time that you've had that extra day to prepare. I ask Coach Russo about this every single year when we did the show with him. How does the Saturday game kind of shift, if it does at all, kind of just the preparation factor to have that extra day to utilize to prepare for a team, whether it's home or on the road? How have you guys used that extra day on your schedule this week, with it not being a Friday night game? It's a Saturday afternoon to prepare for EHT, who is also kind of similar to Washington Township, one of those old Cape Atlantic League rivals, one of those newer age rivals too, in the sense that they've been on the schedule for year after year now, and there's history between their former coach and Coach Russo and everything there too. So that was always a storyline. But to have that extra day of preparation, how have you guys utilized that in terms of just scheduling things out this week?
It's been really good for us in that we got this extra time to prepare for our opponent in EHT. Nothing really changes in our approach. We got our game plan, offensively and defensively, and we approach it as so. So, it was nice as a staff being together for that extra day of practice. And I know the kids also got beneficial work out of it. It's just, again, they need those extra reps. Overall, we're a younger team. So we have to get those extra reps when we can, and it was just very nice to get that extra day in for this week.
Which that extra day, I'm assuming, is today as we record this on Thursday, where this is traditionally your walkthrough, any minor things that you want to tweak and put into the game plan. But what was today's vibe of practice overall on a Thursday, where traditionally you're just kind of, going through the motions, getting ready for things mentally is what your walkthrough is really preparation for. But what was the vibe at practice today like to kind of prepare for a team that you guys know very well?
The vibe was, great tempo. The kids were upbeat, and practice went off without a hitch. So, again, we're just very excited in that we know we got an extra day of work in. And that just means that we know as a staff that the kids should have even more of a, how can I put it, a workman's approach to their craft, because everything should really be embedded in their head. Mentally we should be firing on all cylinders come Saturday. And if not, that's shame on us.
And what has kind of the message been, too, from you guys as a staff for that extra day to kind of just be still in that mindset, still be prepared? Friday night, you're traditionally out on the field playing a game, and then you're going home and, going to bed, waking up on Saturday morning. Now, you have Friday night kind of off. What is kind of the message there to be like, hey, we got to be locked in because you guys have a game. You have to be prepared for early morning Saturday, and you got to be out on the field for a 1 p.m. kickoff?
Yes, we can't stress enough to the kids. Make sure that when you get home, you tend to your bodies. You go ahead, get a nice meal. Make sure that you get your homework, all that good stuff done, and relax. Put your feet up. If you have any type of lingering little, nicks, take care of them, and just relax. There's no need for anything else. Bring your body down from all this, hitting and running. And come Saturday, you got to be prepared to go ahead and, get this W for, homecoming.
Saturday game, day game. What's kind of the excitement around that? Obviously, it's different from your traditional Friday night, event. Saturday, the homecoming festivity is going to be in full swing as well. What is kind of just you guys as a staff, to have a Saturday afternoon, kind of a college vibe to it, and have Gatone Stadium bumping on the weekend?
It's nice in that, we know it's not that traditional Friday night light game. There is no Friday night lights. It's going to be an afternoon, powwow, if you will. And it's just exciting in that it's new for us for this year. We haven't had no 1 o'clock game, So it's going to be nice in that it'll be our first time as a staff together on a 1 o'clock game. And it's going to be the first time these kids come out to a 1 o'clock game. So we're going to see where these chips land, man. I'm telling you, Kyle, I'm trying to get that W. We're here trying our hardest as a staff, and the kids are trying their hardest as well. And I just want the community to understand that, And again, those that don't know football, they're gonna say whatever because they don't know football. But the people that really know football and know what to look for in improvement and things of that nature, they know that these kids are giving you your all. I know. And that's at the end of the day, I can care less. I know they're giving me everything. So I ride with my kids, and that's it.
We're going to talk some more homecoming. Get ready for EHT. When we come back, we're going to have a word from our sponsor, so don't go anywhere. You're watching Guzman's Gridiron right here on Underground Sports Philadelphia. This episode of Guzman's Gridiron is brought to you proudly by Allen Associates. And if you're looking for a reliable and experienced insurance agency that caters to all your needs, look no further than Allen Associates Insurance Services. With over 6 decades of experience under their belts, they specialize in health insurance, financial services, and accounting. Whether you're part of the public or private sector, they've got you covered. Our family-owned business currently helps upwards of 300 groups throughout New Jersey, providing them with the best insurance options available. You can now easily learn more and access our services by visiting our brand new website, AllenAssoc.com. That's AllenAssoc.com. Link is also in the description of this episode. So join the family and let us help you secure your future. Contact Allen Associates today by calling 856-692-2250. That's 856-692-2250. We want to thank Allen Associates for being a proud partner of Guzman's Gridiron, the official Vineland High School football coaches show on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. Now, let's get back to the show. And welcome back, everybody. Big thank you to our sponsors. So, Coach, it's homecoming.
Right.
What is kind of the message as well for that to enjoy the festivities, have that added boost of adrenaline of homecoming and everything, but don't let it get to be too much. Don't let it be a distraction from the task at hand.
Absolutely. Again, the kids already understand that because I'm constantly in there. Business is business, and the business at hand is getting this W against EHT. It's not, we're not involved in the, homecoming festivities per se, other than we have a game that day. So concentrate on the task at hand. Our little fling with the homecoming is tomorrow we have a pep rally, right? That's our little time in this homecoming situation. Come Saturday at 1, it's lock in, business-like mentality, and let's go.
And I mean, I remember homecoming when I was in high school, which was now 11 years ago, 12 years ago. It's crazy.
Time goes. Time waits for no man.
I have the trivia for Coach DeShields when he's up there doing his halftime trivia.
That's my
Coach,
man. Love you, Coach.
Can you name a pair of siblings and now a husband and wife who were involved in Miss Monogram?
Well done.
It's myself,
Brain teaser?
my sister, and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law and I were escorts our senior year for Miss Monogram. My sister was in Miss Monogram.
Wow.
I don't know any other siblings and now husband and wife that were involved in Miss Monogram throughout their career at Vineland High School.
They're going to have people with these comments. Wait a minute. I was in 1978.
Let us know. We got to have some sort of collective, like a Hall of Fame group or something going.
Comment. Don't be afraid to comment. That's a good fact. That's a fun fact.
Miss Monogram is always fun, and to have that festivity going on and to have just that ambiance of homecoming. How exciting is it for the team to, have that added boost behind them and just knowing that everybody's coming out for a huge event that they are, kind of the main show for, and then there's another main show going on while they're preparing for a second half.
Absolutely. Our kids are excited, man. They, I'm excited for the kids of Vineland. All them kids deserve all those platforms that they're going to be allotted to on Saturday. So, kudos to all the kids involved with the homecoming festivities. Kudos to Mr. Feliciano and the band. I mean, he's a great dude.
He's a dog.
Man. Yeah, he's just a great person, man. And these kids need that, So, again, keep up, the good work that you're doing, Justin. You're doing a real good job with them kids, man. They talk about you in a great way, too. So just know that. I hear everything, brother. Okay?
From them, the cheerleaders.
The cheerleaders. I mean, Greta's doing a great job with the cheerleaders. I mean, the color guard. We have great kids at Vineland, man. top down, we have great kids at Vineland, and I'm just wishing that everything goes off without a hitch for them because they deserve it.
And
Our
we
kids
talked about
deserve it.
the beginning of the year, just the way that it's been built back up to have that triangle of the football team, the
Yes.
band, and the cheerleaders kind of having each other's backs
Yes.
again and coming together, not being these separate entities anymore. And it's almost, to get off without a hitch, those three coming together and having a collective Friday night typically, and now a Saturday afternoon is critical to that home field advantage as well.
Absolutely. It's an organic relationship that we've built. It's really nice, whether it's, talking with the head of, the cheerleading squad or talking to the head of the band or the color guard, whatever the case may be, all for the kids of Vineland, man. All these people that are heading these groups are all for the kids of Vineland. And at the end of the day, that's all I want to see, man. I can care less. Even if I wasn't the head coach of Vineland, I would want someone to come in, right, that their first priority is the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to look good, not trying to get kudos to, I'm going to build my resume here and then possibly go to some. No. Do what's right for the kids. And it's more than just football. It's so much more. People have no idea. I'm telling you, Kyle, none. They think they do. Oh, I'm a great football mind, and I know this. How do you do in the business of kids? Football mind's only going to take you a certain degree, dude. Okay? How are you at dealing with kids? And not just kids that, grew up with a, silver spoon in their mouth, but kids in all spectrums, from the kids that are all the way down here, the kids that are born with the silver spoon. How good are you with all that? How's your flexibility? Because you're not just coming in and, all right, this is what I want to run. Da-da-da-da-da. It's so much more, man. It's so much more. So, again, I love my staff. My staff is, in my opinion, the greatest on the planet because at the end of the day, they're all about the kids of Vineland. And all of our kids know that wholeheartedly.
Plus a bunch of them were those kids from Vineland.
Yeah, and you see what I did. I mean, there's no, magic to my reason here. There really isn't. It's I want kids from Vineland to make sure that when they come in as staff now, these kids that are underlings, wait, I know you. You played in such and such year. Or you still help coach down at 3rd Street. Or you still help coach down at the Blitz. Like, all my guys are involved, man. You know what I mean? So, very happy, very proud of my coaches. Just a great staff, and I love my kids. I mean, I know I use that repetitiously, but it's because I really mean it. I'm not afraid. I'm a grown man that's not afraid to say to another grown man, I love you. You know what I mean? That's how I was raised, so it is what it is, and the kids know that.
And for these kids to have, the task at hand, getting another win, on that win-loss sheet, you got EHT on the schedule coming in, a team that we're familiar with, from Cape Atlantic League days to even, newer times now over the past couple of years with West Jersey Football League. They're finally coming to our house. It feels nice to not have to go to EHT.
It seemed like we were going there every year.
Every year. We went there twice last year.
I'm like, what are we doing here? But
it's nice to have them come to us.
Yes. Yes.
What's the excitement factor about playing a familiar opponent again? Washington Township's been on the schedule, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. But to have an EHT coming in, they're also kind of on that up and up, trying to rebuild their program a bit after some graduating seniors last year and some coaching changes as well. What's the excitement level about playing a team like an EHT?
Again, our kids are pumped up. Not only is it, again, us not going over there for the 3rd time in a row, but, just all the festivities, everything that's going around it it's building this beautiful ball of energy, if you will. And our kids are, from our standpoint, our kids are more than ready to go ahead. And if we could play tomorrow, they'd be ready to roll. So we're just going to see where these chips fall come Saturday at 1.
Do you as a staff and, the players that have that experience playing against EHT kind of feel that same way about Washington Township, that you guys feel this is a new age rivalry? This feels like a reborn rivalry almost, where you had the Cape Atlantic League history between EHT and Vineland. Disappeared for a little bit, and then the West Jersey Football League comes around. EHT comes back into the mix, and now for, I'd say, the past 5-6 years now, they've been on the schedule continuously,
Yes.
and it's a new era of Vineland versus EHT. Does that rivalry still feel like it's there in
Oh,
terms of
100%.
just, old school and now new school and just building new chapters upon it?
100%. There's been some bad blood between us through the years. So, we're going to keep everybody even keel. To date, knock on wood, our kids act accordingly, and I don't see any any difference rather. Our kids are going to go out there, they're going to give you 100% on the field, and at the end of the day, whether it's a win or loss, they're going to win and lose with class, and that's the bottom line.
Is that something that, the players who have been here for a couple of years, some of these upperclassmen, do they kind of, set that tone as well during practice, during film and install, and during, just the week at large, knowing that EHT is a rival, knowing that there is history between these two teams and they've been a part of it? Is that something that kind of gets, hey, we know this team, they know us, we don't like them, they don't like us, we want to set the tone at our house now and come away with what we think should be a winning effort?
I'll tell you this much. The seniors that were there last year, and, when they were youngins and were there the year before, they have a chip on their shoulder. They really do, and rightfully so. There was a lot of things that happened over in that venue that were kind of not so cool. All right, and the kids went through that, kept it in their back pocket, and I'm sure that they're going to let the sparks fly come Saturday. Between that those white lines, they're going to let the sparks fly. So
through film and watching everything as a staff on this EHT team, like we mentioned, they've had graduating seniors. They're in kind of a rebuild phase as well.
Right.
What are some things you guys have picked up on that maybe has changed from what they've done over the past couple of years that, is something you want to focus in on, that's something you have to pay attention to and have extra emphasis on during game time? Is like, hey, we got to be able to stop the run. They throw the ball really well. We got to be locked in, man-to-man, zone coverage, whatever it may be. What are some things that stood out to you guys on film that EHT has been able to execute this year that you've really locked in on this week?
Their run game, is pretty much their high point, as far as their offense. But the quarterback can throw the ball as well. So we're just, it's the typical rigor more, right? Stop the run, force them to pass. I mean, I think every team in this country, their first thought is, unless it's an uncanny team that just passes 90% of the time and just runs 10, you're looking to stop the run, force the quarterback to do his due diligence with his wideouts, and see where it goes from there.
And, I mean, to have them coming in to the pomp and circumstance as well of homecoming at Gatone, extra day on top of it, can kind of throw a schedule off for a player.
Right.
How fun is it knowing that, homecoming's also against a rival?
Right. It's pretty cool, in that, we went through their homecoming once already, so and I don't think we fared too well there. So hopefully we could fare well in our homecoming and give them a little taste of what we felt when we left their homecoming.
And to be back home again, there's been some road games here in this second half of the season. To be back home at Gatone Stadium, afternoon games, sun is out. What's kind of the just excitement about being back at home and being in that environment that is Gatone Stadium on a game day?
I'll tell you what, Gatone Stadium is a beautiful place to play. Just it went from this I guess you put it I'm going to put it nicely. You went from a dirt and grass paradise to this nice, plush island of a turf field. It's just, they did a great job on that turf field. I love that field. The kids love it. So yeah, it's a nice feel knowing that you're going to be on that Gatone platform overlooking Landis School. It's just a real nice picture. Sun going down in the back. Well, I don't know if it's going to be too sunny this Saturday. I think it's a wash. So it's all right. Rain, sleet, or snow, as long as there's no lightning out. Violin will be there.
I wanted to get your take on this, too, because whenever we talk about Gatone, we talk about that turf and everything.
Right.
And it's a hot debate in the NFL streets about replacing turf fields and putting grass into the NFL fields. What do you think is the difference of, high schools preferring turf fields for their athletes versus the NFL athletes clamoring for grass fields rather than turf?
I think that, again, this is just my thought. I think that in high school, it's a culmination of things, right? So in high school, you're trying to work within a certain budget, right? Taking care of a grass field every year is very costly. People have no idea of the cost to take care of a grass field. Soccer, football, it doesn't matter, okay? You eliminate a lot of cost by putting down a nice turf field. Now what happens then? Now you eliminate cost. That's great for the budget, right? But now what happens is any player that steps on a turf field, the injury expectation goes up immediately. When you plant your feet in turf, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to move out of there. It's just not. And if it does move, other pieces of your body are going to move with it, and you're probably looking at a bad injury. This is what I think going into the NFL venue, they're trying to eliminate that, right? They're all assets to these owners, right? These are multi-billionaires, and they're trying to protect their asset. What's their asset? These football players that are playing. So let's protect them in any way possible. I mean, look at the quarterbacks. It's like a prima donna league now, man. I'm sorry, it is. It's not football like when I played. Quarterbacks were getting destroyed, okay? And no flags were coming out. You touch a quarterback now, shoot, flag goes up, okay? So I think at the end of the day, the protecting of their assets, being the football players, they're trying to go ahead and move away from turf, which makes you injury prone when you touch that thing, into a less hostile, type of material, being grass. It moves, it shifts. You plant your leg in the grass, 9 times out of 10, if somebody hits your leg, it's going to move with the grass, and you'll avoid a bad injury. Versus turf, 9 times out of 10, your foot gets stuck in the ground, or your arm, your hand gets stuck in the ground. Well, guess what? Everything's shifting, but your hand stays in the same spot.
Do you also think it's an age thing, too, where when you're in high school, like, your body's still changing. You're still growing. Like, when you're in the NFL, you're 24, 25, going into your 30s, where your body's going to be what it is, in terms of size, in terms of, just muscular, growth and everything like that outside of what you do in the weight room.
Right.
Do you think age plays a factor into that as well, where, when you're 15, 16, 17, 18, you're more nimble, you're more agile, and you can kind of move a little bit more with that turf than, say, a 29 to 32-year-old NFL veteran?
Could be. It could be, but I would want to say it's more on the latter of what I told you, man. Like, yeah, you're more nimble, but I've seen kids, blow out elbows on turf. Stick their hand on the turf, and there goes the elbow. They get hit, boom. Knee, gone. I mean, so I played at the College of New Jersey, and we had a defensive end. His nickname was Fish. And long story short, we're practicing on one end of the field, and all I start hearing is this unbelievable yelling, like top of the lungs, almost screeching, right? We look over, and this was the first-gen turf. Horrible. It was like you'd have rug burns just stepping on it, This kid's right knee, I've never seen such a gruesome injury in my life. His foot was facing due north, but his knee was facing west. Blood all over. It literally opened up. Bone. You saw all types of things that you shouldn't see. It was just a mess. Even on our field, there was a kid. I think it was EHT. One of his foot, the ankle, the bone went right. I've seen some really nasty injuries on turf, really nasty. Fast forward to grass, I'm telling you right now, in my time playing, okay, and I played for Hamilton High School, we had a grass field. We didn't see injuries that bad. All right, maybe a dislocated knee, dislocated elbow, but not the bone coming through the skin and blood all. No way. So there's a big difference, turf and grass. So at the end of the day, like I said, in my opinion, I think these billionaires just want to protect their assets, being the football players, as much as possible. And why not give them a plush, Blu-ray grass field with a nice crown, the whole night, plush, where they know they have the monies to take care of it every year with no problem.
EHT coming in, what are some things that you guys have focused in on practice-wise this week? Really preached, like you mentioned, kind of trimming the fat, getting back to the basics. What are some things you guys noticed this week or players this week that stood out to you guys as a staff that you're excited to see this week of practice culminate on Saturday afternoon against EHT, because players put in that work and they're ready to take on what EHT you believe will present to you?
I'm going to tell you right now, all our captains, as far as Gilbert, Patrick Gilbert, Mark Mutcherson, you have Terrell Powell, and then of course the golden leg, Mr. Greif, Colin. They've all been steady at their pursuits. They're ready, they are more than ready. Again, we trim that fat out of the playbook. We're going to keep it basic, offensively, defensively as well. And these kids are just locked in, man. They know exactly what their alignment is, their assignment, their adjustment is, to anything that we might see out there on the field come Saturday. So I'm just excited for our kids, man. I just want them to feel that W again. Feel how it is to leave with your head held high and knowing that you put everything out there and you left it all on the field. So excited for our kids come Saturday.
Especially in front of what should be a rowdy homecoming crowd.
It should be, but let's just hope let's keep our fingers crossed that maybe the football gods, the big guy up there, just says, all right, we're gonna pause the rain till after the game. That would be nice for all the kids of Vineland, because I want to see, all them festivities go off without a hitch.
Exactly, because even for a homecoming game, like, that's fun for the fans as well. They come out to watch everything that's going on.
Not just football. Look, the kids, man. You got so much going on. The parade with the cars. It's just a really well-planned event for the community of Vineland, man. And these kids deserve any positivity. Like I said, I keep preaching it because it's the truth. There's so much negative stuff going on, man. Parents, man, please just stay on your kids in a good way, man. Talk with them, because they're going through some of our kids are going through some, real things out there, and just be by their side, man. Keep it positive, and we're going to be all right.
And like you mentioned earlier in the season, too, all home games, if you wear your jersey or your cheerleading outfit for the Blitz and for 3rd Street,
yep,
you get in free.
Yeah.
Bring the kids out. Homecoming is like one of those fun events, especially for that age demo.
Absolutely.
To come out and watch everything that goes on. It's something that catches your eye in all aspects.
And those kids will never forget that type of event. That's why I'm hoping that the sun comes out, that this rain goes kind of like off the radar, and it lets the kids of Vineland experience an event that is not just football. But they'll see the band, they'll see the cheerleaders, they'll see the color guard in all their glory, and it might spark something different in their approach to when they come to high school. Like, wait, I think I want to do color guard. Or I think I want to be a cheerleader. I want to be in the band. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool, like what they're doing, So it's so much more than just Vineland football's playing EHT. It's so much more,
We'll wrap up in a minute with everything EHT-wise. We'll talk a little alumni here.
Right.
Tyreem Powell leading Rutgers in tackles. Once again, not the outcome that the Scarlet Knights wanted against Wisconsin, but 9 tackles, I believe, for Tyreem on his what our expected road is to that Butkus Award. And unfortunately, we lost Dick Butkus this past week. He passed away at the age of 80, so
God bless him.
It'll be the first posthumous Dick Butkus Award handed out. But Tyreem, 9 tackles to his credit after kind of a nice little week off the week before.
Yeah.
He led the team in tackles and just continues to dazzle and build his draft stock up.
Again, this is something that I wholeheartedly know that young man is going to go on to the next level. He's just put too much work, too much time into his craft. And again, any team that gets this man on their roster, any NFL team that gets this man on their roster, I promise you, you're getting more than just a football player. You're getting more than just a football player, I promise you.
And I can attest to that, too.
I mean,
Tyreem has just been unbelievable since the day I met him,
yes.
4 or 5 years ago now, and, just watching his progression, positional switches, and now just becoming just an all-caliber linebacker at the collegiate level in the Big Ten is fascinating to watch. I want to see who Rutgers is up against this week for everybody to tune into to watch Tyreem, as Rutgers will be playing Michigan State at Rutgers.
Okay.
Should be a good
That's
one
going to
for
be
Tyreem
an interesting
there,
one.
and a fun matchup there. And obviously, Michigan State's been dealing with some off-the-field issues.
Right.
So we'll see how Tyreem and company and Coach Giano can take advantage of that, on the field and use that to their advantage at home and get a big dub against a team that, in years past was viewed as a powerhouse, and another Big Ten matchup for Rutgers.
Listen, Coach Giano has his staff totally in sync, totally on point, and I don't expect anything but a big W for the Scarlet Knights, come game day.
And we're recording this episode of the show on Thursday night, and Pop's getting ready to play in about an hour on Thursday night football.
I gotta get home for that.
And guess who's going to be in attendance for Thursday night football once again? Miss Taylor Swift.
Swifties are going to be in full effect. Not to mention probably half of Hollywood. It's unbelievable. I mean, these boxes up there. You look at the people in there. You're like, oh, wasn't he in the movie Gladiator? What are we doing, man? It's a whole entourage they bring. It's not just Taylor Swift and Swifties.
And I love how everybody was like, oh, this is going to blow over. It's going to be over in a week or two.
No.
One, genuinely feels like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift like each other.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? And now just the Hollywood world is crossing over even more into the NFL space. And, it is one of those things that it's different for the NFL now, where traditionally you'll see maybe one or two famous fans at a game here or there. Paul Rudd has been at Chiefs games. The Eagles, you see Bradley Cooper at games all the time up in Jeffrey Lurie's box. But it feels very similar to like the NBA now almost, where you see all the celebrities courtside.
Yes.
And they pan in on them, put them up on the Jumbotrons and stuff. It's getting to that level whenever the Chiefs play, wherever they play. You're seeing celebrities left and right coming out to watch the Chiefs because Taylor Swift is there.
As I said, just peep those boxes. Those VIP boxes up there are full of Hollywood stars. It's just fun. And then the funny thing is, they try to, masquerade as something else. Yeah, they put on a little hat or something, some glasses. We know who you are, man. We watch TV, okay? We know who you are. Stop it, okay?
It is hilarious.
Pretty cool, though. I love it. I love it.
And, mean, whenever Taylor's in town, pops off.
No pun intended. But, he's just – listen, man, it's kind of like surreal, right? So this man does his thing during the season, but then he'll come back home. And he's always Pop, and it's like, hey, what's up? You want to get together? You want to go eat? Yeah, dude, let's go eat. Chill out. So the man doesn't change, man, and that's like I said, and I'll keep saying, that's one of the best attributes somebody could have. If they can be the same person, whether they're at some crazy venue or with mom and dad or with friends, that's a genuine person, man. That's somebody that you want to be around. He's infectious. Why? Because he's the same all day long. He's just him. That's it. Respectful, young man. Works real hard at his craft, and he's just a bright light to be around. And again, my opinion, but I think that we've been kind of like, just overwhelmed with a good energy with these kids, with Demby, with Pop, with Tyreem. They're just great people to be around. They have that beautiful aura. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter
instant
who
mood change whenever any of those
Step
three in
in the room.
particular walk into a room.
I mean, it doesn't matter which one of those three come in the room. It's just the mood changes. It's just a good uplifting.
And if all three walk in the room, look out.
Yeah, it's
Put
just
sunglasses on, because it is going to be bright.
Bright. It's just a bright, beautiful feel. So it's nice to be able to know that we've been a part of that and we're still a part of that.
And Jamil's putting more music out.
Yeah.
I was looking at his Instagram and TikTok the other day.
He ain't
He's got
stopping.
a new song coming, which is
stopping.
very exciting. And the stuff that he's been able to do, and we talked about this time, he's just versatile. He can pivot into so many different lanes.
Him and his brother.
All the time.
Just
all the time.
Great dudes, man.
And it's
great
just
dudes.
the creative aspect of the Demby family.
Yeah.
That anything they put their mind to, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Again, I can't say enough about that kid, or not kid, young man now. My goodness, it seems like he was just playing for us, but just a beautiful person, that deserves beautiful things in his life, and he's attaining those things. So kudos to you, man. I'm very proud of you. Love you, Demby.
So best of luck to Tyreem and Papa, obviously,
100%.
in their games this week, and obviously, Coach, you guys got a game to play on Saturday.
Yes, we got to get that W, man.
Expectations, final thoughts going into this matchup with the EHT and this next chapter of this rivalry, and what you're expecting from the team, from you guys as a staff, and expecting from the fans to come out and support during homecoming.
I'm not expecting no more than what we've been preaching to our kids from day one. Give us your all and leave it all on the field. That's it. It's a real simple formula. Execute on every down, put together 4 quarters of football, and you won't be disappointed. As far as the community, please come out, support the kids of Vineland. Stay positive. Things will change. You go through these peaks and valleys, if you will, but just know that the kids are giving you everything they got every game. So before you guys, not everyone, but you know who I'm talking to, those people out there that want to criticize in a negative way, always point the thumb, because it points back at you. Criticize yourself first. Understand that you're a grown person, and these are 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old young men. Okay? So if you put yourself in that light and understand that these are young kids playing a game that they love and doing it in a positive light and doing positive things for the community, then act accordingly and keep that positivity going instead of possibly saying some negative things that you really don't mean at the time.
100%. Can't wait for Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a ton of fun. Come out to homecoming. Rain, sleet, snow. We're going to be there. You can catch the game on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel, youtube.com/@VLDSchoolsTV. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any episodes of Guzman's Gridiron. Every single week premieres usually day or two before game day, around 7 p.m. Eastern time on our YouTube channel, and it's in podcast form wherever you get your podcast. Just search Underground Sports Philadelphia, and we'll be back next week, hopefully talking about a big-time win against EHT, preparing for one more final regular season home game this year against Pennsauken. And then, it's on to just waiting to see what the postseason may hold, and then obviously the big one on Thanksgiving. But big thank you to Allen Associates and the Double Eagle Saloon and Deck Bar for supporting the show every single week. And we'll be back. Guys. And, Coach, best of luck against EHT.
Thank you so much, my brother.